I don't celebrate my wife's birthday. But you, my fiancé, are special.
I'm so happy. And we're staying in a suite at the hotel tonight, right? Their conversation, so absorbed in their own world, would normally be something I'd listen to with a smile. But it's different when the man in the conversation is my husband. And what did he just say? Fiancé? The words hit me like a slap in the face. My husband, Colton, had the audacity to bring his affair to the French restaurant where I work. There's no way I'm letting them leave quietly. Manager, I have a request. Imagining what was about to happen, I couldn't help but smirk to myself. My name is Sadie, and I'm 36 years old. Winter is always a tough season for me, not just because of household chores but also because of my job, which involves working with water and hot liquids. My hands get so chapped and dry. When I was younger, I didn't need hand cream, but now, no matter how much I apply, it's never enough. I have to work hard to prevent my hands from cracking and bleeding. I work at a French restaurant. I started at a chain, moved to a hotel restaurant, and then to a high-end French restaurant, gaining experience and training along the way. I'm not just a server or a hostess, I'm a chef who creates French cuisine. My husband, Colton, whom I married 5 years ago, works for a trading company. We met through a mutual friend, or to put it simply, at a mixer. A friend from college, who was dating someone in the trading company, invited me to a party where some of his colleagues would be. Concerned that I, always busy with work, had no chance to meet anyone, my friend thought this might be a good opportunity. As someone who works in the food industry, I rarely meet men in suits. They all looked sharp in their business attire, and their conversations were filled with wit and humor. I was easily charmed, especially by Colton, who was seated across from me. We hit it off immediately and exchanged contact information before the night was over. He asked me out to dinner soon after, and our relationship progressed smoothly. Even though I work most weekends, and his job involves a lot of travel, he would take days off to match my schedule. Our relationship thrived against all odds. When he brought up the topic of marriage, I held back my eagerness and told him my honest feelings. I want to continue working. I've worked hard to get to where I am, and I'm finally being given more responsibilities. I'll do my best to handle the household too, but I might not be the best wife to support your busy lifestyle. Knowing how demanding his job at the major trading company was. To my surprise, he just laughed it off.
I'm not looking for a housewife, Sadie. I travel a lot and have many work commitments. I'd prefer if we respected each other's time. I believe we can be that kind of couple, and I admire your dedication to your work.
Colton. Hearing that makes me so happy. We really were doing well. I had heard about how he had been exhausted by a clingy ex-girlfriend. At work, I wouldn't contact him unless necessary, and I never pried into his affairs. I guess I was just too busy myself. So, we got married and didn't change our lifestyles much. We were both busy with work, but living together meant we could see each other when we got home. We managed to synchronize our days off to go out together. Even after we got married, Colton would always bring me flowers or gifts for my birthday and our anniversaries. He was great at planning surprises, and though I always wanted to surprise him back, I'd end up asking, "What do you want?" In that way, even though we were often too busy to do household chores properly, and sometimes even fought, we were enjoying a happy married life. About 3 years after we got married, as we were enjoying a drink together, Colton suddenly said,
Sadie, don't you think it's about time we had a child?
"What?" We didn't have any children yet. Of course, I did want children, but I was prioritizing my career and leaving it to nature. To put it more frankly, I was subconsciously delaying it, thinking it would be inconvenient to have a child right now and that it would be better to wait a little longer. I also want to have children, but
Right. If it's been 3 years and nothing's happened, maybe we should get some tests done. Considering our age, maybe you should ease up on work a bit, Sadie, and we can go to the hospital if necessary. I'll support you, of course.
it would be a blessing to have a man talk about this so openly. I understood this because I had heard various stories from my friends, but at that time, I had just been made the leader of the hors d'oeuvre section at the restaurant I worked at. Yes, I think that would be good. But could you wait a little longer? I've just been recognized as independent and given this position, so I can't leave work right now.
I see. I understand.
Seeing Colton's disappointed look, I felt a twinge of pain in my chest. When things settle down, I'll slow down at work and think about it. Besides, we might get lucky and conceive in the meantime.
Right. There are times when work is important.
Thank you, I said, grateful for Colton's understanding. And then I got so busy that I almost forgot about that conversation, and about half a year later, it happened. I was bringing a towel to Colton, who was in the shower, when I heard a vibrating sound. It was coming from Colton's cell phone, which was placed along with his clothes. Did he usually bring it into the bathroom? I thought for a moment, but figured he must have left it in his pocket and didn't think much of it. Just as I was about to leave the living room, the vibration sounded again, several times in a row. I turned around involuntarily, and the phone's screen lit up with a notification. Michelle. Thanks for the treat today. Next time. That's all it showed, but my heart jumped. I hurried out of the bathroom, but even drinking water in the kitchen didn't calm my pounding heart. The sender was displayed as Michelle, and that heart mark, it was clearly from a woman. He said he was at an office party today, but was it one of the women there? But, as I was brooding, he came out.
Oh? What's wrong?
Sensing something was off with me, he asked. I thought it was now or never, and calmly opened my mouth. When I brought the towel earlier, your phone was ringing quite a bit. Maybe it's something urgent?
What?
With a towel in his right hand and his phone in his left, Colton stopped for a moment at my words and quickly operated his phone. I watched his face intently, but whether intentionally or unconsciously, his expression didn't change. Who was it? Is everything okay with work?
Oh, it was a colleague. The director and I paid for today's office party, so it's a thank you message.
Wow. That's a thoughtful colleague.
These days, young people rarely attend office parties, so sometimes we treat them or try to communicate with them. It's tough.
I've heard that before. Is it Gen Z?
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't really understand the term Gen Z, but I said it anyway. Colton was laughing, and everything seemed as usual. But my intuition was telling me something. I could sense it. The message couldn't just be a thank you from a subordinate. Thank you for the meal today. Today too, which means the other person has been treated by him before. I can't tell what the word next time means, but it seems like they have plans to meet again. The heart mark stuck in my head, and my heart was restless. From that day on, while continuing my usual life, I began to look at Colton's actions with suspicion. As always, he had many overnight business trips and client entertainments. But those were originally there, so I couldn't tell if they had particularly increased recently. Maybe I hadn't been paying much attention to Colton until now. I trusted him, but I also couldn't deny that I was preoccupied with my own work. One thing that was clear was that he started keeping his mobile phone close to him at all times. I struggled with the idea of checking his phone while he was in the shower or sleeping, but I couldn't do it. It would probably be locked anyway. On one hand, I wanted to believe him, but on the other hand, I noticed changes in Colton when I thought about it. Now that I think about it, there haven't been any birthday or anniversary presents or surprises for the past year. It's not that I wanted things, so I didn't pay much attention, but Colton never missed an event, no matter how busy he was. Now doubts started to arise. Even at work, I couldn't help but think about various things and couldn't concentrate. I couldn't stand living with this unsettled feeling. I decided to go to Colton's company on my day off. I didn't know if I would be able to catch him at the right time. He is often out, so I didn't know if he would be at the company. Feeling empty about what I was doing, I sat in a cafe across from his company, drinking coffee. In the evening, Colton came out alone. He had his mobile phone to his ear, seemingly on a call. When the call ended, he walked towards the bus terminal. I hurriedly left the cafe. For some reason, he walked past the bus terminal. After walking for a while, he hailed a taxi. Then, out of nowhere, a woman with long hair quickly got into the taxi. He quickly followed, and the taxi drove off. As the taxi passed by, I saw the two of them closely huddled together, and I was stunned. No matter how you looked at it, they seemed like lovers. Even though I had a hunch, seeing it with my own eyes was shocking, and I walked to the bus terminal in a daze. After calming down a bit at home, I sent Colton a message. "What time will you be done today? How about having dinner out together for a change?"
Sorry, I have a dinner meeting with the director and a client today. I'll be late, so go ahead and sleep.
Oh, so that person is a client.
No way!
How long have I been deceived like this? This makes all the business trips and everything else suspicious. Amidst the swirling anger and sadness, I thought about what I should do from now on. 3 months later, I was working as usual.
2 guests with a reservation for the private room.
The madam in charge of the reception said,
Welcome!
and the owner said, "The French restaurant where I work has 2 table seats besides the counter and 1 private room. We charge a private room fee, so reservations are rare, but it's popular with celebrities who want to be discreet."
Hey, this place is expensive and you got a private room too? That's amazing.
Of course. I don't celebrate my wife's birthday, but my fiancé, you are special.
Oh, I'm so happy. And we have a suite room at the hotel later, right?
Of course.
Cole, I love you.
The words coming from the private room almost made me gasp out loud. I wanted to congratulate myself for holding it in. The voice was unmistakably Colton's. The woman called Michelle was undoubtedly his mistress. What did she say? Fiancé? I was speechless. To think he would bring a date to the restaurant where I work, what was he thinking? I had told him I moved to this restaurant, but did he not hear or just forget? It's clear he doesn't care about me at all anymore. That realization solidified my resolve.
Hey, are you feeling okay? You look pale.
The owner noticed I had stopped moving and called out to me. I'm fine. Boss, I have a request.
What's up? What's going on?
When the madam who had just delivered the aperitifs to the private room returned, the owner whispered something to her. Looking surprised, she turned to me, and after meeting my eyes, she nodded slowly. Soon after, the madam brought the appetizers to the private room, and a loud voice followed shortly.
Spicy! Water! I need water!
What's wrong, Cole?
Hey, madam! Did the owner make this appetizer? Call him over!
Colton's voice echoed. I headed to the private room. Is there a problem with your appetizer? I made it myself.
What's with this? Did you mix up the amount of horseradish? Get the owner to make it. This is a special dinner.
Oh? What's the occasion?
Huh? That's none of your business. Well, what?
Finally turning to face me properly, Colton froze the moment he saw my face.
Well, why are you?
He opened and closed his mouth, but couldn't continue.
What's wrong, Cole? I thought you liked horseradish.
You do like horseradish, don't you? Our restaurant takes pride in our horseradish, which we source from Madison County.
Wow, from Madison County. Are you the chef? That's so cool.
Not recognizing me, Michelle cheerfully commented. Thank you. How does it taste?
Oh, it's delicious. He booked this famous place for my birthday.
That's wonderful. I gave Michelle a professional smile, then looked at Colton with the same smile. She says it's delicious, but does it not suit your taste?
No. It's very tasty.
Whether he was scared of my professional demeanor or thought it best not to provoke me, Colton responded awkwardly. That's good to hear. We have a special course continuing after this, so please enjoy it.
Of course. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Are you okay? You don't look well.
No, I'm just a bit nervous at such a fancy place.
Really? The always confident Cole, nervous? You must have done it for me. I'm so happy.
Haha.
Sweating and with a strained laugh, Colton was struggling. From there, it was a spectacle. The dishes that followed were all of high quality, but only Colton's were laden with horseradish, cleverly hidden so as not to be immediately obvious. Though I felt like doing the same to his mistress, causing a scene with both of them would be too much. I wanted to minimize the trouble for the restaurant. While she enjoyed the food, exclaiming how delicious it was, Colton choked down his meal with teary eyes, asking for water repeatedly. Well, you sure do go all out for her. Don't fill up on water, it'll be a waste. As I carried the dishes to the private room instead of the madam, I said this with a smile and poured piping hot water, not hot enough to burn, but enough to warm.
Hot. Huff, huff. Ouch.
What's wrong?
You.
Just as Colton finally glared at me and opened his mouth to speak, the owner made an appearance.
The foie gras today is exquisite, the best we've had recently. And the filet mignon is also top-notch. How about it?
Oh wow. The owner's here, Cole. The foie gras just melts. Everything is so delicious, right?
Michelle, who looks like she's in her 20s, seemed to be enjoying the high-end cuisine and was excited to meet the owner. Our owner is quite famous and has appeared in magazines and media numerous times, so a starstruck person like her might know him. As Michelle spoke cheerfully, Colton clammed up, and I took the opportunity to retreat. Then, I brought the final dish. Here you go. This is the last of the main courses. I'll bring the dessert next.
Okay.
What the hell is this?
In contrast to Michelle's smiling face, Colton glared at me. Well, I guess he would. The final dish was a mountain of horseradish instead of the expected delicacy.
You've got to be kidding me.
Colton finally shouted, and Michelle's eyes widened.
Cole.
Do you think you can get away with messing with a customer like this?
Please keep your voice down. You'll embarrass her as well.
Screw you.
Who's screwing with who?
As I changed my tone and glared back fiercely, Colton faltered. Bringing your girlfriend to the restaurant where your wife works, what kind of nerve does that take?
What are you doing here? You don't work at a French restaurant like this.
I told you I got transferred here.
What? Did you?
You were probably too busy on your phone, half listening, preoccupied with her.
Hey, Cole. What do you mean, wife? You mean this woman.
Michelle, it's not what it looks like.
Nice to meet you. I'm Colton's wife, Sadie. I turned to Michelle, smiled brightly, and greeted her.
What?
Michelle stared at me in shock.
Wait, really?
As Michelle's words sunk in, his face turned pale. He laughed nervously, sweat pouring down his face.
Hey! This isn't what you told me.
Michelle suddenly burst out in anger.
You said your wife was a lazy, unemployed woman who didn't do housework, and that's why you were separated. How is she unemployed?
No, Michelle, calm down.
Oh, so that's what you said. We've never been separated.
What? What do you mean? You told me you've been separated for a long time and are about to get divorced.
Michelle's once beautiful face now twisted in fury. It seems he had painted me as a difficult wife and lied about being separated. Realizing that I was indeed his wife and everything had come to light, Michelle suddenly tried to protect herself.
I was told you were separated. That your wife abandoned the house and the divorce was already decided, so,
Well, that's unfortunate for you. But you knew he was married when you got involved with him, didn't you? Taking taxis after leaving the office and meeting in private rooms like this is to avoid being seen, right? I don't know what Colton told you, but from my perspective, making excuses instead of apologizing makes you just as guilty. I'm sorry. Michelle averted her eyes awkwardly, offering a half-hearted apology. Now, I turned to face Colton, who was staring at me with a pale face. Ever since I found out you were meeting her under the pretense of business trips and client dinners, I've been gathering evidence for our divorce.
What?
If you were planning to divorce me too, that makes things simpler. But to think you'd come to our restaurant.
Sadie?
You booked a private room because you didn't want to be seen, right? Yet you were loudly celebrating, making it clear you're married. How foolish can you be?
What? You're the one who's unbearable. It's your fault for being cheated on. You're always prioritizing work and can't even have kids. Fine, I'm going to marry this young and cute Michelle and have children with her. I'll pay whatever the divorce settlement demands.
Sure. Since your infidelity is the cause, you'll be paying up.
Humph. In that case, I'll spread the word. Imagine the scandal of a famous French restaurant harassing people. This place will be finished. The owner will be dragged down too. Are you fine with that?
What a despicable man. I responded firmly to Colton, who had the nerve to deflect and blame me instead of apologizing. Go ahead if you want. The owner made sure she was served the usual course. What I did was personal, directed only at you for your infidelity. I can explain it all and take full responsibility. That was when.
Cut it out. Do you really want to lower your reputation any further as a man? What?
The voice of authority belonged to the owner.
Sadie told me it was her husband in the private room, and I was surprised. This woman has climbed up in the tough world of chefs without giving up, and yet you're cheating with a younger woman? Pathetic.
What?
Everyone here heard your words. For example, do you recognize this gentleman at the counter? What? Oh.
The man sitting there was a best-selling author known for his love of fine dining.
The writer here is furious about having his meal disturbed. But as a writer, he finds it amusing. He plans to use today's events in his magazine column and on the radio. You'll become quite famous. What?
Colton and Michelle's faces turned pale. Glaring at them, the owner continued as other guests shot cold looks their way.
Hey, stop it! I'm not involved. I'm done with him.
What? Wait a minute, Michelle. We're getting married, right? Sadie's getting a divorce, so there's no problem.
What? There's a huge problem. How could I trust a liar like you? Give me back my precious time.
Shouting this, she gave me a quick nod before fleeing the restaurant.
What? Michelle!
As Colton tried to chase after her, the owner grabbed his arm.
Hold on. What are you going to do? Ignore your wrongdoings and spread bad rumors about us? If you do, we have our own plans. Be prepared to face the consequences. Eek!
He trembled slightly under the owner's intense presence.
I won't do anything. I won't touch this store or Sadie, I swear.
His earlier bravado was nowhere to be seen, and his voice quivered pathetically.
If you harm Sadie any further during the divorce, I won't go easy on you. Some of your bosses are friends of mine, and they will come down here. Yes, I understand. I understand.
Finally, the owner released him, and he yelled,
Michelle!
and dashed out of the store. Here's what happened next. Colton and I successfully finalized our divorce. Ever since I first caught them together, the detective agency I hired had gathered plenty of evidence, and that day's incident was the last straw for Colton. He agreed to my terms, paying the alimony I demanded and dividing the assets as I wished. At first, I considered suing Michelle for damages too, but it wasn't necessary. She quit the company where both she and Colton worked and exposed their affair, leading to her own disgrace. She lost her job and friends at the company, suffering her own consequences without me lifting a finger. As for Colton, the revelation by Michelle also exposed everything at work. He had even called her to his business trips and charged their meetings to the company. As a result, he was demoted to a subsidiary factory rumored to be a harsh workplace. From an elite position, he found himself in a mentally and physically draining environment. Given the current strict corporate climate, he probably won't return to the main office. As for me, the customers who were present that day didn't get angry but instead offered me words of encouragement and support. Regular patrons who had seen me as a chef backed me up, and the store's reputation, as well as the owner's, remained untarnished, much to my relief. 2 years have passed since then, and now I have a new partner. Believe it or not, it's the owner's son. He's set to take over the restaurant one day, but 2 years ago, he was training at a place in Los Angeles. When he came back a year ago, we met and grew close, and naturally fell for each other over time. The owner and his wife have warmly supported our relationship. Life brings all kinds of experiences. The cold seasons can make loneliness and hardship feel even more intense. But I believe that enjoying good food can always lift your spirits. I hope to continue sharing happiness through the dishes I create with as many people as possible. Rebecca and I, childhood best friends, never run out of things to talk about. Our conversations start with reminiscing about our early years and lead to discussing our first loves. We lose track of time, laughing occasionally, and when the conversation eventually lulls, I muster up the courage to ask about her husband Gary, a topic I had been contemplating bringing up for a while. "Weren't you with Gary the other day?" I ask, trying to sound as casual as possible. "Yeah, probably. It's just as you imagine. I'm having an affair with Gary. Apparently, he doesn't have any affection for you. Gary and I are getting married. The date is set, so make sure you're divorced by then. He said his marriage to you was only for the money, Erica reveals bluntly. I feel my voice catch in my throat, unable to express my emotions. After Erica leaves, I head to my room with a heavy heart and collapse onto the bed. A few days later, my children come to visit me. Did something happen? Surprised, I remain silent, and my daughter Jennifer patiently waits for me to speak. Taking a deep breath, I decide to confide in Jennifer about the heavy burden weighing on my heart. I tell her how I invited Erica over and confronted her about the affair with Gary, which she readily admitted to. Erica even told me that they were planning to get married and that I should divorce Gary. Jennifer gently puts her arm around my shoulder and whispers, "I knew it." "Don't worry, Tim and I will figure something out," she assures me. Tim, my son, who was drinking milk in the kitchen, chimes in with a soft, "Yeah. No need to worry. We have evidence," he adds.
The curtain rises on hell.
Jennifer remarks with a mischievous grin, as if concocting a new prank. My name is Rebecca, and I'm 58 years old. I'm just your average, everyday housewife, the kind you'd find anywhere. I sit in my living room chair, gazing absent-mindedly as the evening light filters through the window into the room. Alone, I eat my meal in solitude, feeling a profound sense of loneliness. The person who should be sitting across the table from me is not here. I believe my marriage to Gary was never truly bad. Blessed with 2 children, Jennifer and Tim, Gary, with whom I've shared many joys and sorrows, is someone I consider to be the best partner. Recently, though, Gary has been coming home from work later than usual. On the verge of retirement, Gary stepped down from his managerial position and often returned home on time. However, about 6 months ago, he suddenly started coming home late, and I found myself eating dinner alone more frequently. The fact that Jennifer and Tim have both become independent and live on their own has also contributed to my loneliness. Although I certainly feel the bonds of family, I can't help but feel my presence fading as my children grow up. Lost in thought, I finish my meal and put the half-eaten dinner in the refrigerator. I'd love for us to go to a restaurant together again, I mutter to myself with a wry smile. 6 months ago, for my birthday, my children organized a dinner party at a restaurant. Despite the heavy rain that day, being able to go to a restaurant I had long wanted to visit with my family felt like a dream come true. The restaurant sits atop a small hill, a somewhat famous local establishment. In the spring, you can see the canola flowers blooming along the riverbank from the hill, a truly beautiful sight. Unfortunately, due to the heavy rain, we couldn't see the canola flowers from the window, but my heart was still filled with happiness. Having my children leave the nest and occasionally return home to share a meal together is supposed to be a truly joyful thing. Yet, I can't help but feel lonely. Is it because I'm being greedy? I wonder if feeling lonely when your children leave home and you find yourself with more time alone is something every ordinary housewife experiences. One day, while shopping at the local supermarket, I unexpectedly run into my childhood friend Erica. Oh, what a coincidence. It's been a while, hasn't it? About a year, I think. Erica exclaims.
Yes, it has.
I reply, noticing how much Erica has changed since I last saw her a year ago. Erica, who never used to dress up, is now wearing quite flashy clothes. She has on an expensive-looking white shirt with a large blue gemstone necklace adorning her neckline. She's wearing an eccentric white hat and pants with a pattern I've never seen before. Erica must have noticed me observing her outfit because she gives a wry smile and lightly taps me on the shoulder. Actually, my husband passed away 6 months ago, and I've been living alone since then, she confesses, her voice tinged with a hint of sadness. What? Really? I ask, surprised by this unexpected revelation. Since then, I've been doing whatever I want. Eating what I like, wearing what I like. Erica says with a laugh, but I can't help but sense a touch of loneliness behind her words. I ponder what I can do for Erica and lightly tap my hand as an idea comes to mind. I know. Hey, Erica. I begin, my eyes lighting up with excitement. I have a small backyard at my house. It's where we used to have lively barbecues when the kids were young. I suggest to Erica that we have a barbecue at my place next weekend. Erica seems a bit hesitant at first, but quickly breaks into a smile and happily accepts my invitation. On the way home from shopping, I find myself eagerly anticipating the upcoming barbecue, hoping that Erica will enjoy herself. Before I know it, the promised day arrives. I ask Gary to help with the barbecue preparations, and Jennifer and Tim join us as well, promising a lively holiday gathering after a long time. Jennifer and Tim seem a bit perplexed by Erica's presence, but I proceed with the preparations without giving it much thought. Under the pleasant sunshine of a clear day, Erica looks incredibly attractive in her straw hat and refreshing outfit. Originally, Erica was not only my classmate but also Gary's. When I considerately offer to take over the barbecue duties from Gary, saying, "I'll take it from here," he and Erica begin to chat and laugh together. Occasionally, Erica would lean against Gary's shoulder, laughing heartily, their cheeks almost touching as they shared drinks. Seeing this, Jennifer and Tim clearly show disgust, their faces contorted with displeasure. I sense my children's feelings and make eye contact with them, silently pleading for their understanding. Erica might be lonely after losing her husband. She's drinking, too, so let's cut her some slack for today, I reason, hoping they'll empathize with her situation. If you say so, Mom, I guess it's fine. Jennifer reluctantly agrees, but Tim continues to glare sharply at Erica. A few months later, an incident occurs that throws my life's gears into disarray. It happens on a day when I decide to take a long overdue train trip to do some shopping. It's a holiday, and Gary had also left early in the morning, saying he had some errands to run. As I walk along the street lined with numerous stores, I gaze at the products through the glass windows without stopping. I can tell that the items in each store are refined and expensive without even looking at the prices, so I don't feel particularly tempted to buy anything. Suddenly, as I pass by a certain store, I spot Erica on the other side of the glass. Erica seems to be happily selecting from an array of dresses. It's a wedding dress rental shop, with white wedding gowns displayed in the front. Assuming she must be choosing a dress for a relative's wedding, I decide not to call out to her and attempt to walk past. Huh? I mutter under my breath, my feet coming to an abrupt halt. I had been so sure that Erica was with someone I didn't know, but there, standing next to her, is Gary. Gary is laughing loudly, holding up an outfit against his body with a delighted expression. As Erica and Gary disappear into the back of the store, I distinctly see them casually holding hands. Stunned by this utterly unexpected scene, I find myself unable to process my emotions and end up returning home without doing anything. Despite venturing out, I come back empty-handed, and in a daze, I search for Erica's name in my mobile phone contacts. After agonizing over the message content, I finally hit send. Want to grab a coffee together sometime? My short message reads. To my brief message, a simple reply arrives. Sure. I'll come by the day after tomorrow. I can't help but wonder if Gary is sitting next to her, laughing as they read the message together on her mobile phone screen. The thought makes my chest tighten with fear, and without even waiting to confirm Gary's return home, I drift off to sleep. For a while after that, I didn't speak to Gary, but he didn't seem particularly concerned about my behavior. Then, a few days later, Erica visits my house. Erica brings along a delicious-looking tea that I've never seen before as a gift, and we sit facing each other, chatting and laughing. As childhood friends, we never run out of topics to discuss. We start with memories from our early years and move on to talking about our first loves. We lose track of time, laughing occasionally, and when the conversation eventually lulls, I ask about Gary, a topic I had been pondering how to bring up for a while.
Weren't you with Gary the other day?
I inquire, trying to sound as casual as possible. The moment I wait for Erica's response feels excruciatingly long, as if time has frozen. Then, with a half-finished cup of tea in hand, Erica smiles at me and says matter-of-factly, "Yeah. It's probably just as you imagine, Rebecca. I'm having an affair with Gary. Apparently, he doesn't have any affection for you." Erica smirks, covering her mouth with her hand. Seeing me at a loss for words, Erica seems to take some pleasure in it and continues speaking mercilessly. "He complained that he only married you because you're the daughter of a wealthy family," she reveals, her words cutting deep. I find myself studying Erica's face intently. He complained? While I think to myself that it must be a lie, I listen attentively to Erica's next words. "He said he's never felt any attraction to you as a woman. Apparently, your family background was the reason he married you," she adds, twisting the knife further. Whether it's true or not, I have no way to verify it, but I find myself choking on my words as tears begin to flow. That's Gary is. I stammer, struggling to form a coherent sentence. "He's been considering divorce for quite a while now, but he couldn't bring himself to go through with it," Erica continues, relentless in her revelations. I know I should be angry at this moment, but my voice is stuck in my throat, and I find myself unable to express my emotions. He's the one who approached me. By dating me, he's started to seriously consider the divorce he couldn't go through with before, Erica concludes, shattering my world with her words. Erica finishes the last bit of tea left in her cup, her lips curling into a sneer as she licks them. The mocking expression on her face is one I don't recognize, a stark contrast to the Erica I thought I knew. "Gary and I are getting married. We've already set the date, so make sure you're divorced by then," she declares, her words hitting me like a sledgehammer. Devastated by Erica's revelation, I find myself at a loss for words, unable to do anything but watch helplessly as she gathers her things and leaves my house. After Erica's departure, I drag my heavy body to my room and collapse onto the bed, my heart weighed down by the crushing news. I stare up at the ceiling, my eyes falling shut, but even with my eyes closed, I can't escape the thoughts of Erica that haunt my mind. I clench my fists tightly, my nails digging into my palms as I try to process the betrayal. Tears begin to flow from my eyes, and I can't remember the last time I cried like this. In that moment, I find myself thinking about how warm tears feel, a trivial thought that has no place in my current situation. A few days later, Jennifer and Tim come to visit me. They arrive during the day and express their suspicion about Gary's absence, asking, "Dad's still out?" But as soon as they glance at my face, their expressions turn serious. "Did something happen?" Jennifer inquires, her concern evident in her voice. "What?" I reply, caught off guard by her question. Surprised, I remain silent, and Jennifer waits patiently for me to speak. Ever since she was young, Jennifer has had a keen sense of intuition, able to calmly discern between good and bad in people. I take a deep breath and decide to confide in Jennifer, determined to unburden the heavy weight that has been pressing on my heart. I begin to recount the recent events in the most cheerful voice I can muster. I tell her how I invited Erica over and confronted her about the affair with Gary, which she readily admitted to. I explained that Erica told me they were planning to get married and that she wanted me to divorce Gary. Apparently, his marriage to me was just for the money. I say with a hint of self-deprecation, forcing a smile at the end of my words. But if there had been a mirror in front of me, it would have reflected the image of a woman wearing a strained, artificial smile. Still, I put on a brave face, not wanting to worry Jennifer and Tim. Jennifer gently puts her arm around my shoulder and whispers, "I knew it. It's okay. Tim and I will figure something out," she assures me, rubbing my shoulder comfortingly. Tim, who was drinking milk in the kitchen, chimes in with a soft, "Yeah. I thought she was a suspicious person during the barbecue the other day." "Don't worry, we've got evidence," he adds, his voice filled with determination. "The curtain rises on hell," Jennifer remarks, as she and Tim exchange mischievous grins, as if concocting a new scheme. A few days later, Erica is once again sitting in my house, sipping tea. This time, she didn't bring any gifts, and I served the tea she had brought during her previous visit. Gary is also sitting beside Erica, fidgeting nervously with his hands. This gathering was arranged by Tim. Since it's a weekday afternoon, both Jennifer and Tim took time off work to create this opportunity for a discussion. Tim instructed me to invite not only Erica but also Gary to the house. Regardless of Gary's work commitments, Tim seems quite irritated by the fact that Erica had an affair with him and demanded a divorce from me. "What do you intend to talk about?" I asked Tim weakly beforehand. "Leave it to me and Jennifer. You don't need to worry, Mom," he replies with a reassuring smile. Unlike the gentle and kind demeanor he usually shows me, Tim is now looking down at Erica and Gary with a cold expression. "I'm sorry for not telling you sooner. I was having an affair with Erica." Gary is the first to break the silence. With the entire family gathered and Erica present, he must have realized what was happening. Seeing this, Erica puts her arm around Gary's shoulder and says, "There's no need to apologize," in a gentle tone. "Here," Tim says, tossing a photograph in front of Erica. It appears to be a photo taken during a trip, showing Gary and Erica smiling at each other, just the two of them. The photograph clearly demonstrates that Gary and Erica's relationship goes beyond mere friendship. Erica looks up at Tim after seeing the photo. "Even without evidence, Gary and I are having an affair," Erica admits defiantly. "So it seems. But there are plenty of other photos I'd like you to see," Tim counters, spreading a large number of photographs on the table. Erica's face visibly pales as she looks at a few of the photos. Tim explains that he investigated Erica's social media accounts and printed out photos and posts dating back several years. There are private photo messages and other personal information about Erica printed out. Additionally, there are photos of people who appear to be Erica's friends and classmates, indicating that Tim thoroughly researched Erica's social connections through her social media. What's particularly interesting is this photo from last month, Tim points out. The photo shows a young woman I don't recognize cooking in a house. Next to the unknown woman, a man can be seen relaxing in the living room. As Tim silently points to the man sitting on the sofa, I lean in to take a closer look and realize it's Erica's husband, George. "Last month's photo? Erica, you said you lost George 6 months ago," I say, confused and upset. "Erica, lying about being single to deceive Dad constitutes fraud." Tim confronts Erica, leaving me reeling in shock. He stares into Erica's eyes intensely, causing her to scrunch up her face in discomfort. "You went through my social media and searched for my acquaintances? You have poor taste. Those photos were taken when George was still alive, and I just posted them,
that's all, Erica retorts defensively.
Is that so? By the way, I'm a police officer. If there's suspicion of a crime, I have the authority to launch a full-scale investigation into you, Erica, Tim reveals. Tim, who has always had a strong sense of justice and excellent athletic abilities, is a police officer. Due to the nature of his profession, he rarely introduces himself as a police officer upon first meeting someone, as it can intimidate them. I think to myself that he must be really angry to declare his occupation as a police officer. Erica glares at him and gathers all the photos on the table, shoving them into the trash can. My small trash can overflows with the numerous photos, but she doesn't seem to care.
It's true that George is alive. But there's love between Gary and me. Isn't that right, Gary?
Erica says, her words sounding like a scene from a dramatic play. She buries her face in Gary's shoulder, making crying noises even though there are no tears. Gary forcefully pushes Erica away as she leans against his shoulder, causing her to tilt her head in surprise.
Stop it. You were deceiving me, weren't you?
Gary accuses her. Before Erica can respond, Jennifer hands her a few documents.
These are documents stating that you committed marriage fraud against Dad. After Tim arrests you, I will do everything in my power to defend Dad, Jennifer declares.
She informs us that Gary has hired her as his defense attorney. Jennifer, who has always been sincere, kind, and able to maintain a fair perspective, is a lawyer. Jennifer had apparently been suspicious of Erica and Gary's relationship since the barbecue. She noticed a level of closeness between them that couldn't be explained away by mere intoxication, leading her to suspect a romantic involvement. As a lawyer, she has many acquaintances, including private investigators. When she requested an investigation, it quickly came to light that not only had Erica not lost George, but she wasn't even divorced. Confronted with this fact and finding herself completely isolated, Erica stands there in a daze, staggering backward as if about to collapse.
What's with all of you? Have you ever thought about how privileged you are?
Erica shouts as she takes a book from the shelf and throws it at Gary. Gary covers his face and cowers, but Tim calmly catches the book thrown at him with ease. Erica, breathing heavily in agitation, glares at me with bloodshot eyes and this time slams the book on the floor.
Rebecca, I've always hated you. You got married before me, have 2 children, a house, and are wealthy.
Erica. I start to say.
You have all the qualities that make people jealous of you, yet you live your life so nonchalantly without any awareness of it, and that's what I can't stand about you.
From then on, Erica's unhinged behavior was not pleasant to watch. She rages with disheveled hair, hurling insults at me. Tim listens silently with his arms crossed. Jennifer steps forward to stop Erica, but I halt her with a glance. Let her say what she wants to say. Erica was never blessed with children. When I had my first child, Erica came to my house with a wedding gift and held little Tim. For some reason, I now recall Erica's gentle expression as she held Tim, as if cradling a precious jewel, with such loving affection.
Is George leaving me because I couldn't have children? Tell me, Rebecca.
Erica shakes my shoulders, her eyes wild. I was also invited to Erica's wedding. A man she met at work, slightly younger than Erica and seemingly taciturn. He didn't seem particularly friendly, but Erica sat next to him in her wedding dress with a radiant smile.
Why? Why were you at that restaurant that day, Rebecca? Huh, that restaurant? Yes, the one on top of that hill. Such a lovely restaurant, why?
Tim and Jennifer exchange glances, indicating they don't understand. I'm the only one who comprehends Erica's increasingly incoherent words.
the restaurant where everyone celebrated my birthday. On that day, in the midst of my happiness, while dining at that restaurant, I gazed at the torrential rain pouring down outside, and though it might have been my imagination, I thought I saw an acquaintance getting drenched. Could that have been Erica? That day, George brought up divorce. He had been cheating on me, and we were separated for a while. I felt like nothing mattered anymore, and I was just walking aimlessly. And then, I happened to see you, Rebecca, by the window of the restaurant. Erica mumbles, staring at me. You had such a happy look on your face, gazing out the window with satisfaction. Erica suddenly bursts into laughter. At that moment, I thought, I'll make you feel the same way. I'll make you experience the same sadness I did. And yet, Erica, don't look at me like that forever. I was so close to seeing you become miserable, Rebecca. Erica's shoulders slump and she sits down right there. I instinctively want to approach Erica and put my arm around her, but Jennifer, noticing my intention, grabs my arm to stop me. Mom, Jennifer says, not uttering another word. Reaching out my hand now would surely be cruel, further hurting Erica. It implied that my relationship with Erica could never return to what it was. I had lost my dear childhood friend. When George learned of this incident, Erica formally divorces him. Gary, having fallen into Erica's trap of marriage fraud, meets a pathetic end and becomes depressed at home. Having been scolded harshly by Jennifer and Tim, Gary seems to reflect deeply and starts speaking to me in a polite manner. On his days off, he diligently cleans the house from morning to noon and even massages the soles of my feet at night. He also takes the initiative to cook, and it's amusing to see him screaming in the kitchen as he tries to prepare the dishes I request. One night, while Gary is massaging my feet, I ask him, "Why did you even consider having an affair with Erica?" Although Gary is shy when it comes to romance, he's an honest and sincere man. I couldn't imagine him as someone who would cheat, so I'm genuinely curious. It's embarrassing to admit, but Gary says awkwardly, confessing that he had a complex about his lack of experience with women, as I was his only partner. Erica knew that Gary and I had been together since our student days and got married. She pointed out Gary's inexperience and seduced him, saying, "You only live once. Isn't it a waste not to know other women?" I deeply regret it. I betrayed you out of mere curiosity, Rebecca. I'm truly sorry. Do you still love me now? Of course. Gary replies as he continues to massage my feet. I realize that Erica's claim about Gary marrying me for money was a lie. Gary fell in love with my lively personality and married me. And he assures me of that. Your hand stopped. Press harder. Yes, dear. I smile as I lie face down. Some time passes. And on a pleasant spring day, I sit in the back seat of Tim's car with the window open, feeling the outside breeze. The car slowly ascends the hill and reaches a small peak where the town can be seen in the distance. We're here. Watch your step, Tim says as he carries my luggage and escorts me to the restaurant. As I take my designated seat, I see a vast field of canola flowers blooming along the riverbank outside the large window. The sight of the yellow flowers stretching endlessly on both sides of the straight river is breathtaking. It's beautiful. Happy birthday, Gary says, handing me a small bag while gauging my reaction. Inside is a pair of socks. I can't help but laugh at the idea of receiving socks as a birthday present. No, these are expensive socks I bought from a specialty store, Gary explains, while Tim puts his head in his hands and shakes his head. And Jennifer laughs while clutching her stomach. He's truly a hopeless man.
Laughing, I shift my gaze out the window. My happiness has always been my own. It doesn't matter if someone tries to deny it or what they think of me. I'm sure I'll be all right, that I can become even happier than I am now. The canola flowers on the riverbank sway endlessly in the wind.